Hello scholars, let's take a look at your mid-module 5 study guide. Now you should have been working on this during the day already. If you're just waiting for this video, you're not actually getting any practice, and that's going to be a problem for Wednesday's test. But I trust that all of you have been spending time on this, so let's dive in. I will give you the answers. I will give you the answers for A's, C's, and E's today, and then we'll get the rest of them tomorrow. So for the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty straightforward. The volume is just 4 centimeters cubed. And I will not give the explanation for every single one. For this one, we can find the volume by counting the number of cubes in the figure. They're all visible, not too tricky. Now for C, I wouldn't say it's tricky, but there is a little bit more that I'd like you to do. So this time I will write it out. This is 6 centimeters cubed. We can see 4 of the cubes. And we know there must be 2 in the back to hold up the rest. Now yours is probably not going to be worded exactly like that. I would be shocked if it was worded exactly like that. But you should have something to say, hey, I was able to see these ones. I could even really see that one, but I know there's got to be more under here. There have to be at least 2. Otherwise, these 2 are going to fall down to the bottom. For letter E, you're going to do the same thing. Again, recognizing that this is in layers, you should come up with 12 centimeters cubed. Okay. On the back side, page 2. This is, I know, very much the same thing. The difference is you cannot see the top, so you are required. You must count the layers. Now, most of you, I think, probably do this without even realizing that's what you're doing. 1, 2, 3. There's a layer back here. So, there are 2 layers of 3 cubes, comma. So, 2 layers times 3 equals 6 cubes total. 6 cubes total. There we go. Now for letter C. For letter C, you should have 32 cubes with something very similar. The front layer has 16 cubes. The width shows that we have 2 layers total, so 2 times 16. Hopefully that's making sense. And for letter E, D and E, these are nets. So we're not actually looking at a solid prism this time. We have to imagine what it would be like to fold this prism. Now, we folded prisms very much like this in class. Some of the students I spoke to earlier today recognized that the shaded part is the base. This part that folds up tells us the height. So, this prism, I know it's a net right now, but if I folded it, this prism would have a base. Oops, sorry folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this prism would have a base of 6 cubes stacked. Now we want to see how high. So I look at this and counting away from the base, starting at the base, then 1, 2. Okay, it's the same here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's the same all the way around because the height would be 2. This prism would have a base of 6 cubes stacked in 2 layers. So 6 cubes times 2 tells us we have 12 cubes total. 12 cubes. Okay. Now on this side, I'm going to do a little bit of digital trickery here. I'm going to put the answers up for you and make sure you can't see the bottom. Okay. So I shall say the magic words, and voila, there they are. Please make sure that your table is filled out correctly. 2 layers of 12 cubes each. That's what I drew right here. 2 layers, 1, 2. And each one would have 12 cubes in it. 12 on the top, 12 on the bottom. Down here, we've got 3 layers. This time we're going along the width. We started by length. See, I'm going parallel to that. Now I'm looking over here on the width side. Not going parallel though, unfortunately. We're going up from the width. 1, 2, 3 slices, 3 layers. Each one would have 8. 8, 8, 8. And then finally over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 slices, 4 layers of 6 each. When you're doing these, you want 1 horizontal, you want 1 vertical, and then usually, I know it's weird because it looks vertical here, the width one is wonky. You can have 1 starting on the side on the width and then going across the top. Okay. All right. I shall make them disappear. Woo! Not as impressive that time. All right. On this side, a little bit more work on this side, but that's okay. Please make sure that you fill in. You should have a length of 5 centimeters, a width of 2, and a height of 4. Now there's a chance you may have done it in a slightly different way. That is okay. That's fine. 5, 2, 4, as long as you have those 3 numbers. Because, I'm going to actually jump down here, it asks you to write it as a multiplication sentence. So I'm going to do that right now. 5 centimeters times 2 centimeters times 4 centimeters is equal to, well, 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. So the total volume, the total number of stacked cubes for A should be 40 centimeters cubed. We're going to do the exact same thing for C. For C, go ahead and fill it in. 4 centimeters in length, 2 in width. It looks a little short because the height is also 4 centimeters. And when we put these things together, 4 centimeters times 2 centimeters times 4 centimeters, we end up with 32 centimeters cubed. You'll do the same thing tomorrow for B and D. Okay. All right, when I flip over to the next page, for A and C, we're going to do a little more digital trickery here. Well, I don't know if it's digital necessarily. I am going to go ahead and show you this, and I shall make the answer. Boom, it's magic. Now, for this first one, you're going to want to probably start with the yellow box. The yellow box does not have all of the information you need, though, so you have to recognize, well, I've got length, 13, and I've got height is 2, but the width is missing. Now, if I take a look down below and see that this is a width of 2, it's the same here, it's the same everywhere, so that's my width. 13 times 2 times 2, and you should get 52 inches cubed. When you find the volume of our blue box down below, length is 5, width is 2, height is not 4. 4 is both of them stacked together. So take out the 2 inches that the yellow has, and you're left with 2 inches. 5 times 2 times 2, which is 20. Add them together, 72 inches cubed. We found the volume of both prisms and added them together. For this one, Just take it one at a time. Now, I actually did it backwards. I started it from the top and worked down, but really the blue one's probably the smart one to start with because it has all of the dimensions. Length times width times height. 3 times 3 times 5 gives us 45 millimeters cubed. Looking at the yellow one, we see 8 over here, but that's not the whole length. It's 8 and then 3 more. So 8, 9, 10, 11. Or if you prefer, 5 going this way plus 6 more with the red, 5 and 6 is also 11. So 11 times the width, which is the same as that one, 11 times 3, and then the height is 4. 11 times 3 times 4 should be 132. Up top, you've got length, width is going to be 3 again, and there's your height. Multiply those 3 together to get 72, add them all up, and there you are. Okay. Now, obviously don't want you to see the other side just yet, so I'm going to make these answers disappear. I'll give you one last good look at them, and then make poof. And we'll continue on to the back page. Now for the back page, since this video is already getting pretty close to 12 minutes, probably not going to go through every single one of these in great detail. C especially, and actually E is not bad either, you don't need a whole lot of information for those. All you need to remember is our volume formula. Volume is length times width times height. But as usual, I get ahead of myself. For letter A, where we're making a box to organize scrapbooking supplies, I'd start the same way I usually do. Go ahead and draw a rectangular prism. Now sometimes your tests and things will say, not drawn to scale. I'm going to say the same thing. That's not at all what this box would really look like. I just need a box. Because I want to label, which is a stencil set that is 12 inches wide. Well, that means that the width is going to be 12 inches. Because the stencil needs to slide right in. Could be a little bit more, but in this case it works with 12. So we'll just go ahead and we'll start there. Now, it also says it can be no taller than 2 inches. Well, that means it'll be 2 inches tall. And the reason I'm doing this is because now I only have one unknown. Volume equals length times width times height. Volume in this case, I don't know, or excuse me, length in this case, I have no idea. So I'll put a box. We've talked about variables, putting letters in. Could have just left it as an L. But for right now, something times 12 times 2 will give me my volume. Now, I know that the volume needs to be 72 cubic inches. I also know that 12 times 2 is 24. So something times 24 is going to be our missing length. Now to find that, I'm going to have to do a little division. Something times 24. I guess I could guess and check too. 2 times 24, 5 times 24, 7 times 24. But that takes a while. If I plug it in, 72 divided by 24, I'll put a little squiggle there so it doesn't get mixed up. 24 will go into set. I guess I'm going to guess and check anyway. 2 times 24 is 48. It's not bad. 3 times 24, well, 3 20s, that'd be 60. 3 times 4 would be 12. 60 plus 12 is 72. So, okay. I guess I should have just done that to start with, huh? 3 times 24 is 72. Subtract them out. What this means then is that for this box, I think I'll put it over here. Length, that was our missing number, right? So length is 3 inches. Width is 12 inches. Height is 2 inches. If we set it up that way, it meets all of her requirements. It's wide enough for the stencils. It's not too tall. That last dimension was the only thing we needed to worry about, and should be good. All right. That's your answer for A. Out of all the ones assigned for today, that was probably the most in-depth one. Again, for C, Mrs. Johnson constructing a box, all we need to do is plug in our values. You can draw a rectangular prism. You know I love that. But you really don't even have to. Length is 28 inches. Width is 24 inches. Height is 30 inches. Go ahead and multiply those together, and your volume ends up being pretty big, honestly. 20,160 cubic inches. At that point, we would probably try to convert it into cubic feet, but don't worry, we're not doing that today. All right, letter E. Got a box for Pokemon cards. Same deal. Length times width times height. Okay. Length is 10 centimeters. Width is 7 centimeters. And height is 9 centimeters. So, I can use the associative property. I can go out of order. I can combine these two first, because I know that 7 times 9 is 63. I also love saving 10 for last, because it's easy. 7 times 9 is 63. Times 10 is 63. With a 0. Centimeters cubed. All right. Hopefully that helps. These are the answers for your study guide, the section we did today. So please make sure if you have any questions, you have those ready for when I see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will post on Google Classroom where and when we're meeting. You can plan for me to be available probably between 10 and 11. We tried Google Meet today, and I'm not sure I feel good about how that worked. So I'm going to experiment with some other options. But we'll play it by ear. We're being flexible this week. Now, please make sure you have this set, A's, C's, and E's. Also, don't forget to check your social studies project and the various activities that Mrs. Fisher has been posting. We are at home, but we are still learning. All right, thanks, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me. After about 4 o'clock this afternoon, I may not be able to get back to you, but I will at least see it, and we'll be able to talk about it tomorrow. That'll do for now. Thanks again for this grand experiment. I will talk to you all soon.